All right, chat. So we're going to start off. I did get a win off stream. Or no, it was on stream last night with Bible Guy. We're going to try again with X-Dash, and we'll see what happens. Or actually, no, we want to do Clarici. Or Clarici? Whatever. This person. We're going to do this person because Santa Water got an update, so it can actually evolve now. I don't know what you need to evolve it, which we probably should check. Does anybody in chat know? It looks like you need a tracked orb. Alright, we're gonna give it a shot. Game. I was about to say, like, throw the Santa Water. Making me sweat there. This gives us area, right? No, Axe gives us area. This is duration, which we actually wouldn't mind. Alright, those are the weapons we wanted. I'll take it. Oh, look at that axe! Look at how big that... Oh, my God. Look at how big the area is on this. This is comical. This is next level comical. I'll post in Discord. I play you, but it feels unfair to match up Jolteon. Yeah, the Urshifu matchup is not great. Rapid Strike Urshifu kind of beats up Jolteon. I mean, I have beaten that matchup. It's just, I really need to both play and draw perfectly, I think. Or my opponent has to make an egregious set of errors, or both. Which, I mean, that's how you win bad matchups in anything, but it just feels much more extreme in that particular one. The axes are still enormous. It's hilarious to me. It would be funnier if the Bibles were bigger rather than the spinning radius getting larger. Oh, yeah, we're going to be slinging swords, too. By the end of the game. But yeah, I'm going to have to find something else, because it sounds like Jolteon's not really going to cut it post-expansion, which kind of sucks. I don't know whether to bother trading them away or not, like trying to get other stuff, because I don't know if this is one of those where everybody's predicting this is going to be the case, but it's not actually known whether that is true. You know, like maybe it turns out Jolteon's fine because of some quirk of the meta. Or it ends up, you know... Well, I was going to say things rotate out, but this is going to be a new set introducing it, so Jolteon will either be gone at the same time or be gone sooner than the card that's causing the issue for it. Taking a lot of damage here. Need to find some floor chickens. Also could use some Santa Water activations that aren't hot garbage. We're locking this in early because we're going to need it for the axe anyway. Again, I don't really like doing that. I'd rather just level stuff, but I think there's enough value in it right now. Because a lot of our weapons are going to benefit from it. Namely, the Santa Water is what I'm concerned about, but... Alright, that helps. Yes. We don't really have a high enemy density, so it's kind of... Eh. There's floor chicken up there. I definitely want to try and force the Santa Water evolution because I don't know what it does. I didn't bother checking. And I'm hoping what I saw in Discord for the requirements aren't lying to me. That would be really unfortunate. I mean, we could probably win with this build with it unevolved. We've done that before. So, I don't know if it was this exact build, but I've absolutely had wins with Santa Water unevolved before. So, if it turns out it's not the case, then, you know. This is not good. These blue ghosts showing up. We haven't found the other stuff we need. Allegedly, it's a tracked orb is what's required for this. For the Santa Water evolution. And we haven't found that. We haven't found the other things for the Bible, the knife. But we did find a Bible upgrade here. Found another one. I mean, that will help with this, because these ghosts are kind of quick, but we're also with its skellies here. You know what I've noticed? I mean, this isn't a post-update thing, but I've had a lot of consecutive games now with bats as the starting enemies on this map instead of the evil trees, which it seemed to always be evil trees for a while, so it's just interesting how the... You know, it's the old flipping coins experiment. How many times in a row can you flip heads? Shout out to anybody who had to do that as a math assignment in, like, 2nd grade or whatever. I don't actually remember when the hell we did that. Santa Water. I'm telling you, I don't understand. Does anybody know why it's Santa Water instead of Holy Water? Bracer would help. Bracer is we have to get for the knife anyway. I'm not a fan of the knife. Especially early on. It gets better when you get the fire hose effect and you're just, you know, spitting knives like crazy. Shout out to people caught cheating because they didn't write out more than 4 heads or tails in a row, not realizing the random data included runs of consecutive heads. That's exactly it, Doc. Somebody did the homework. Somebody did the homework. We've talked about that on stream before. I don't remember why it came up. I'm sure it was in a circumstance like this. Or it was just, okay. You know what it probably was? One of the times when I was regaling chat with me losing coin flips like 60 times in a row or something. Maybe more than that. For something either Pokemon related or... I forget what game it was. I'm sure it's come up when I was streaming Pokemon, but... it's obviously been the case for other things as well. Sometimes you just have a lot of variants go not your way. Alright, so I think we have max Santa Water now. So you want me to just post the code in the Pokemon channel? Feel like you should have a deck channel. We can make a separate one, but right now that channel can just be used for deck lists in there. You can export just a text list of it too, if that's what you mean by code. Because you can just, if you export the list, it'll export it to just a text file. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it would be good to have a repository. I think it would be fun to try and discuss stuff. I know there's a few other regulars that are interested in picking up Pokemon and talking about it, so it'll give us a chance to connect on that sort of stuff when I'm not streaming as well. I'm gonna have to put in more homework or put in more effort into, like I said, identifying exactly what I'm gonna play and what's relevant, because I do want to play more Pokemon. I do want to play more Pokemon TCG. It's a fun game. We'll see if Mew continues its reign of terror. At least that's what a lot of people would have you believe it is. And I can't really fault them. Everything, it really does feel like, yeah, this deck does everything any other deck wants to do, but better. Anything you can do, Mew can do better. Also, the Shining Galarian Birds tournament for Sword and Shield are open. Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I really wish... So, Uthi, or anybody else in chat, have you guys played the new Pokemon? Is it Arceus or Arceus? I don't know how to pronounce it. I was really disappointed to find out that it does not have PvP. And it kind of felt like, well, what's the point? I mean, granted, I realized after I said that to myself, I'm like, that's dumb. Because every time there's a Pokemon game, you gear up to play PvP and then play, like... Well, on the more modern ones, there's way more opportunities. Like, you can just queue up for ladder stuff, I think. But there weren't in the versions I was playing. You could play online, I think, but you had to, like, coordinate the matches. And I also just don't put in the effort to build out, like, super competitive teams. I would need somebody to help me acquire all of the necessary stuff. Whether it's the items or the move sets or whatever. The point is like, it's kind of silly of me to complain, oh, well, there's no PvP. And then I don't play the PvP in the ones that I could have as much as I would have liked to. But also, it's a completely different battle system, which is a huge disappointment for me. Interesting. I didn't know it was a different battle system. I mean, I saw some of the screenshots and it looked cool. We need Spellbinder for the Bible, right? I'm pretty sure this is Spellbinder. I'm just double checking. Yeah, it's Spellbinder. I've been doing a lot of runs specifically avoiding picking up Bible. Like, intentionally avoiding it to try and force usage of other items, so... Forgot for a second. I think the biggest thing for me with Pokemon, I feel the same way about the TCG as I do for Pokemon proper. But I think it's easier to address my concern in the actual video game than in the TCG. Mostly for business reasons, but in my opinion, I think the vast majority of Pokemon should essentially just be skins of each other. So that way, if I think I want to play Marowak, and I really want a Marowak on my team, well, guess what? Marowak sucks right now, and you can't compete with it because it doesn't have the appropriate moveset, or it has the wrong typing, or whatever. But there could be, you know, if it was a Alolan Marowak, where I think they were Dark Fire, you know, there might be another Dark Fire Pokemon that's good. But I want to use Marowak. But Marowak just doesn't get move ABC. So therefore, it's inherently weaker than this other one. If they were just skins of each other, there are enough Pokemon and enough, like, different, like, the type combinations and things like that, that I think you could have enough unique ones that it would still be fine. And then at least you'd have, like, it would be like playing a MOBA or a fighting game with, like, any game that has skins. And just, okay, well, my guy looks different. And that's it because I like how this one looks. I think that would be fine. Because a lot of the competitive related stuff, it's like, okay, you're artificially, well, not artificially, but you're going to inherently restrict what can or can't be utilized anyway. So you're going to see this subset. I find it hard to believe that the subset would be smaller by doing what I'm suggesting than the existing one. You know, like, they would be equally small. Or large, however you want to look at it. But they would be the same size. That may not actually be true. Maybe that's completely off base. Somebody would have to tell me, like, to count it out. And even within the type combination, so again, like, if you take Fire Dark, just as an arbitrary combination. If you had subsets of those where, okay, well, all of these are this sort of type, and they get this moveset, and these are this sort of type, so you have, like, your physical attacker Fire Dark, you have your physical defense Fire Dark, you have your special attacker Fire Dark, etc. down the line, you still end up with all of these different groupings, so you have a wide variety of things. I get that, but that's sort of my issue with restricted legendary rule sets. Legendaries just have better stats so they get used and box out normal Pokemon. Absolutely. I think it's hard to do that because there's a little more where stats matter for strategy. It's important to know a Pikachu's Thunder won't kill you, whereas maybe an Electabuzz would. But that's what I'm saying. So if the underlying thing, so I think unless something's changed, both of those are, well, I mean, one evolves, but let's assume that whatever evolution of Pokemon or of Pikachu is being used, whether it's the base one or Raichu, or I don't remember if Raichu now has an evolution, but let's say it's Raichu versus Electabuzz. Would it not make sense to then, and assuming they are also, like, say, both special attackers, so we're putting them in the same bucket. Can we please get the other items we want? I don't think this gets affected by it. We're gonna go with the whip, just for funsies. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so if they are the same, I'm saying make all their stats identical. Their attack values, their defense values, their hit points, everything. So they are, for all purposes, the same. So the memorization piece of, like, I think that would actually help the competitive environment as far as, now realistically, like I said, most of the time, it's going to cut down to, okay, these are the major ones that are used. You know what I mean? It like what you were saying, Uthi, that if the legendaries are boxing everything out, or whatever the top tier things are, those are the ones you worry about. But in this case, it's just going to be, okay, well, you are an electric Pokemon that is a special attacker. You have this sort of range. As opposed to having to remember every electric special attacker that could possibly be there. And then one of them would, like, I don't know, maybe you end up with too many variations then. Or it's not, you can't do all the things you want to do. Obviously, you get more granularity if everything can be different, right? Like, that's just going to be the case. But it kind of feels like, I don't know, there are too many Pokemon that feel like they'll never see the light of day because they just can't. Are we going to die here? We're going to die here. This wave is always problematic. I was busy yapping about Pokemon and not focusing on making sure I don't die in the game I'm actually playing right this second. We gotta survive for another 20 seconds, which might be easier said than done. There's some floor chicken, that's helpful. Oh boy, this is not better. This is not better. Suddenly a lot of monsters. Oh Jesus, are we dead? We need the sights to go off. We want to go up and left so we can get that other stuff. Part of me wants to take the pentagram right now, but I'm not going to. We're going to resist the temptation. When the sights go off, we're okay. It does clear a big swath, but this is not good. I can see people talking in chat, but we're dying here. We're getting clobbered here. I think the issue is that there isn't really a best in category, but there are a lot that aren't good. That being said, there are surprise candidates to pop up, which is fun. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with card games, which is part of what gave me that thought, is that the way it works in the TCG is just, I mean, it also, again, works the same way in Pokemon proper, where it constantly feels as though the Pokemon I actually want to use, the ones I like, are just awful. They're unplayable for one reason or another. We still have yet to see an Attractor. What is happening? We also... there we go. We gained like 12 levels there. Alright, so we locked in what's supposed to be the evolution for Santa Water. And we're going to get some fat scythes. We're going to get some fat knives. We're getting the Bibles spreading out all over the place. Yeah, Pachirisu. I think that's how you say that. I do remember that Pokemon. Because that's the squirrel one, right? Or one of the squirrel ones. Is that the pronunciation? I'm terrible with pronunciation, so I'm somewhat self-conscious about it with everything. Oh, jeez. We're gonna die. Need floor chicken yesterday. Need floor chicken! Please! Game! I don't think when you get max health from this, that it gives you the max health right away. Alright, we found a path to run, but we still... Okay, there's floor chicken. Can we get to it? Yes, we can. Oh boy, that was scary. Yeah, it held up to Garchomp Dracometer and was previously thought to be a bad Pokemon. Fair. But also to your point, Showdown previous player run tiers for those Pokemon that aren't used. Yes, I have seen those. I have seen those. I wish that they didn't need to do that. That's the thing. Like, now, granted, there's so... And to me, the only way they could feasibly make a lot of these Pokemon viable is if they either did tiers, like you're saying, and somebody would have to police them, whoever that somebody is. In this case, it's player run, but, you know, it could be the first party. The other option is, like I said, you make them all skins so that they are effectively interchangeable. So, if you run Pikachu or you run Electabuzz, they're the same. Or, you know, however you group them up. Whatever the categories are for those particular Pokemon. It obviously introduces complications, but... So, funny story, I think Discord lied to me. We have maxed out Santa Water, we have the Attractor, which allegedly is what you need to evolve this. And we're not getting it. And we've had it for a... Well, maybe we haven't had it for that long. So I don't know if they lied to us or not, but we do have the Evolved Bible. You know, it's not as though we're wanting at this stage. We almost threw things away, but... I don't think an extra projectile really helps us here. The cooldown reduction would be interesting. We might pick that up later. But for now, we're going with these. Spinach might be important. We do kind of have our Halo set up at this point, where we can just... And because we took a Tractorb, we can kind of just stand still. Maybe we need a couple more levels on the Tractorb before we can truly do it. But then we're going to be raking in the experience. So as I was saying, it's easier to provide the example of the Pokemon video game doing this idea that I'm suggesting. But I would love if there were options, you know, you can't do it in the card game because it's contingent on the card's name. So I guess the only way you could do it is if you did it like what Magic did with that Godzilla set, where it is the identical card. You know, it would be Driftbloom, but it counts as a Mimikyu, or vice versa. And then the artwork is different, but the card is identical, and you couldn't have, you know, the other one in your deck if they were, you know, like if it overlapped with a card or something. I don't know how else you could do it, but because the problem is that you're always going to be eliminating options for people. Okay, we finally got the Santa Water evolution. What does it do? Damaging zones follow you and grow when they move. Alright. Ha! Ha ha! That's super cool! Look at that! Oh, that's sweet. So it actually encourages not standing still? Which is kind of funny. Given the Santa Water's original setup. Original plate pattern, I guess. We're gonna crush things now. I mean, we still have one secondary slot to fill too. All right, I see there's a lot of stuff in chat. On the next pause, I'll read it. Next level. That'll give me a chance to break from the insanity that's going on here. Okay. Whoop, wrong tab. I think the issue with categorizing them all is that it will become almost too much to track and start to infringe on the creativity that comes from having movesets be specific to mons. That being said, I think they need to do a better job of rotating mons and allow stat changing automatically. There's a lot of quality of life things they could do. I mean, the meta is inherently going to constrict what's viable. It's just, you know, how you shape these things is up to them, like the first party, because whatever rules they set forth will define what the boundaries are. I think it would be easier for the card game and the main games. It's a skill to read what the other Pokemon's moves are, which you couldn't do if it was skinned. Well, you could, to an extent. I mean, realistically, you're only... Unless somebody comes up with, like you said, the example of this off-the-wall thing, and that happens in the card game, too, where, you know, some terrible card will end up being really good because of its niche position in a meta. And it's the same sort of thing. If they are skins of each other and say instead of there being 10 viable moves for this role, there's 20, but then the quantity of Pokemon, like, you could still play around with those numbers, is what I'm saying. Like, you could still make modifications. This is looking really good, though. What time do you have to get to? You did 30 minutes right now. So the time in the beta right now, this is still early access or whatever. I don't know what it's officially called at the moment, but it's not fully released. You have to survive to 30 minutes. You can't actually kill the boss at the end. He just shows up and murders you. I don't know what the game plan is for, like, what the end state is. The game's fun as it is right now, so... I feel like that's when the meta starts getting a little stale with best movesets. I don't mind it, like, it's the same thing for me with card games. Like, I don't mind those sort of things, as long as, and for the video game, it may be different. Like, you still have to learn the matchups and still do these things. Even if you had perfect knowledge, in card games, you still have to play it. Now, granted, there's variance due to the fact that they are card games, so, you know, that's an issue in and of itself that's already lending things. I know the video games have inherent variance, too. But I think that given the lifespan of how long Pokemon games stay, you know, you're playing that format before things change, as compared to the way card games do it, it might be problematic. But I think there's ways around it, depending on what they set the criteria up to be and what the boundaries are. We're just going to go spinach here. I think the damage is going to be the most important. So now we're just going to be maxing out our secondary stuff. We have all the evolutions that we can get. Rune Tracer doesn't evolve yet, and, well, we have all the other ones, so. Look at how big the whip swipes are. That is enormous. I'm going to have to try something with these again, because I don't usually like the whip, but having that wide of a swing, that's huge. And it actually goes pretty decently far above and below you. You know, speaking of Pokemon, there's a bunch of other games, like, I know Temtem was kind of a big thing for a little bit. I saw somebody streaming it the other day. I mean, there's always people streaming it, but I saw a streamer that I follow playing it, and it was interesting. I don't really like the art style in it. It kind of turns me off of that game. I always wanted to get into Monster Sanctuary, but I never put in the effort for it. It's the same sort of thing with the Pokemon video game, where there's a lot of effort that you have to put in that's just grinding stuff. For example, when I was still trying to push for competitive Pokemon teams, this is several generations ago. Well, maybe not several, but a couple at least. I remember talking to people on a few different forums, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll just, you know, while you're waiting for the eggs to hatch, or while you're doing whatever, just watch TV and just wander back and forth. And I'm like, that's dumb. Why am I doing this? And I know that they're, you know, you could trade for them, and later on in the lifespans, once people have it, once they have their own, people just give away a lot of this stuff. But to me, a lot of the, like, the hoops you have to jump through in order to make the things are cool as an immersion part, but they are just super annoying to me as, like, something that you have to do as a player. Like, it's just busy work to me. Yeah, modern technology made life so much better. I mean, I'm hoping that because they've made efforts as time goes on to help you get the stats you want, get the movesets you want. Nice, now we're accruing cash. I agree, love doing that, but I hate that it's barrier to entry. Yeah, it's just, it feels silly. It feels silly. Like, if you remove it, part of me says that if you remove that aspect of the game, people who like it will be unhappy. But I have to wonder, is that actually true? Like, does anybody love riding the bike up random road back and forth for hours on end? Like, because I distinctly remember people fighting, well, not fighting me with it about it, but, you know, they were vehemently defending it, that this is, no, this is part of the core experience. I'm like, but why? Why do you hate yourself? Like, you can't tell me that you aren't having more fun playing the game or doing other stuff than this. But they probably feel the same way about other aspects in other games. You know, like, there are people that don't understand why people play the auction house in MMOs. And, like, that's what some people do. They play the auction house. Most competitive players can get... Yeah, I mean, there's ways to do it. Did I just get a rosary? I looked at chat and then everything exploded. Because to me, like, what you were describing earlier, Uthi, about how, like, the strategy and identifying, okay, well, this is the meta. How do I attack it? What are the holes in the typical team so I can find a way to build a better team? That feels like the core Pokemon experience, both from the story in the games, the story from the show, you know, like, adapting to your opponents strategically and tactically. And that seems way more interesting to me, and it's better when everybody's on equal footing and you have access to all the possible tools. Now, me being the filthy casual is I would love to play the most competitive team with insert Pokemon or two that I really like, and then just build the team around them. That isn't necessarily feasible for the same reason that it doesn't work in card games. Well, I like this card. What's the best deck I can make with it? How about you just not play that card, because that card's terrible. Like, that's a thing that happens, and I'm sure that's the same way with Pokemon to a certain extent. Here's the big boss. Moving down just to give him room. We probably want him to get hit by the whip, but it's easier just to target him with the knives like this. Unfortunately, stuff is kind of getting to us. Part of that is because the Santa Water can't quite keep up. We have to keep stutter stepping here. There we go. Now that he's down, we're north of 25 minutes now. We're north of 25 minutes. We're raking in the dough. I think we're at standstill mode at this point. As you can see, we're still collecting a lot of the gems. Maybe not, obviously not all of them, but we're collecting a fair amount of the experience gems because we have the attract orb. And we will go collect it momentarily. I'm just giving it... we'll do it now. I don't want it to build up too much and then we can't get to it as tougher enemies come in. I mean, the blue flowers are not usually that bad, but the little pink flowers are actually super sturdy. They're one of the more annoying enemies because they can take so much punishment. Which is why I want to target them with the knives. Thankfully, they move very slowly, but they still last a really long time. But yeah, I'd love to look at some of these other Pokemon-like games, such as Monster Sanctuary. I know they still do tournaments for it. I don't know. I don't know what's required on the busy work end for that game. You know, is there this whole I need to jump through 50,000 hoops like you do in Pokemon in order to get the teams that you ideally want to find, or not? Did that really not drop a treasure? That sucks. There's a red gem up there, but I'm just gonna hang out here. One other thing I want to check is I saw somebody mention there's a leaderboard for this, and I don't know where you even see that. Or how you would have a leaderboard for this, given that, like, you can't speed run it, because it's surviving as long as you can, so I guess it would be how many points you have, aka how many enemy eliminations plus coins, possibly? Oh boy. I moved and that might have been a mistake. Wait, are we dead? Might be dead. Yeah, we could be in serious trouble here, because those bats were definitely getting to us. And we're not clearing them out fast enough. Oh, God. We're almost at 29 minutes. It really depends on the timing of the Santa water. Because it seems like we can get them if they land in the right spot. This might be the end of us, I don't know. We are pulling in a ton of red gems, which I learned that the way it works is if there's too many gems, they'll condense into a red gem. Like if there's too many gems on the floor. I think we're gonna die. Yeah, I think we're gonna die. This is not looking good. We're so close. Game, please! Game! Game, don't do this. We're 53 seconds, game. I probably could have gone for coins. All right, we got it. We just made it. Like, that was looking real dicey. That was looking real dicey, but we took it down. GG. We got there. As always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.